Have you ever thought about how sometimes in cartoons there are just these overused, annoying tropes that everyone absolutely despises? Well, I assure you, there are a lot of tropes that I absolutely despise. I'm just gonna have to start off with the first one. I know these episodes are meant to be funny, but I feel like all this does is make me hate the characters so much that I want to punch them in the face. Okay, listen, I have no problem with slapstick. One of the good ways to use it is whenever the character deserves it, or they just cause trouble to themselves. But if it's either A, overused, or B, you are just using it for the sake of tormenting characters who don't deserve it, then it's not used correctly. There are just whole episodes where, like, either an important character or maybe even the main character is just getting tormented for the sake of it. I know a lot of Loud House episodes that are just like that, much like the one I'm showing right now. Squidward is another example of that. Okay, look, although he does deserve karma at some points, there are just moments where he's just a victim of abuse for the sake of it, and you can't just help but feel bad for him. And whenever the victim of the suffering tries to reassure with them or something like that, it's either A, the characters don't believe them and it lands on deaf ears, or B, they're all just very stupid. Just the idea of just being suffered throughout the whole episode, it's not because like you're a bad person or anything, but rather because you're in the wrong place at the wrong time with the wrong people. This isn't the only trope I'm gonna talk about. There's more. Watch. This was a common trope with Nickelodeon, by the way. Okay, look. There are moments where I genuinely laughed at gross-out humor, but these shows are not one of them. Most of the time, it would be very highly exaggerated to the point that it doesn't even feel like humor anymore, but rather being a blatant fetish. An example I can give would be Sanjay and Craig, and I wish I'd be making this up, but there is a whole episode where Sanjay literally gets impregnated with a fart. And then there's an even worse episode where Sanjay and Craig try to make their friend Hector vomit. I genuinely felt uncomfortable watching clips of the episode. Yeah, I think I've talked enough about distasteful humor. On to the next trope.
Bro, that looks like a British person!
If you don't know what I'm talking about those moments in animes where the characters are like, or it feels like every sentence that character will say, they start with some weird, stupid sound effect that they make. I don't really have much to say for this one, so, I'm just gonna get on to the next one. This trope is probably one of my most hated tropes ever. Like, ever. Basically, the spoiled kid will start causing mayhem and a bunch of chaos around, and the mom will be like, "Aw, our baby's being a public nuisance." This trope makes me so angry. A few examples of this would be Caillou, Little Brown Bear, Lola Loud, and this little gremlin. And most of the time, the parental figures would do absolutely nothing. Like, genuinely, where is your backbone? Okay, I feel like I've said enough about this trope. It's time for the last one of this video.
Are you crazy? Huh, of course you're crazy!
Oh wow, who wouldn't have guessed that there were more tropes that make the characters incredibly stupid? If you don't know what I'm talking about those scenarios where the main character is dealing with an issue, but every character does not see that for some reason. And then eventually when the main character proves his point, all of them are like, you were right. Like, no, bro, I don't want to hear your stupid apology. If I was genuinely dying and all the characters thought I was just, making something up, an apology is not gonna make it. What's gonna make it instead would be an hour-long massage, the perfect meal from In-N-Out, a luxury mansion, and you in a maid outfit. There is a whole Steven Universe episode that is just like this, where Steven is literally dying, and every character, even Garnet, does not see that. Now, this is supposed to give a dramatic / comedic effect, but I feel like all that does for me is just, God, why can't you see that, man? You're so fucking stupid. But yeah, that's all I gotta say for all the tropes that I hate. See you next time.